Alright everybody, in this series I'm going to try to just highlight the goals scored against us and what happened, and also highlight goals that we scored. Alright, so right here, this is something I just want to address here on the start. If you notice, the main difference here is that when we go, we're already moving forward instead of waiting and reading the ball first. That puts us a little bit behind. So at this point here, just a little something Amelia can, when we draw, hold your footing until we can see where the ball is going. Second, Mariana is running straight, full blast to the ball. But what we need to do is we need to be really tracking the ball and seeing if she's going to get that, put on the brakes, instead of taking an extra 4 or 5 steps to make a stop there. All right, as we move forward, now here I want you guys to focus on the defense. Okay, we have Midi back right here. We've got Harper right there. And watch how we get lost on the defense here, transitioning back down. So as we're going, we already have 2 players that are, past us. Marley is doing the correct thing. She is still closer to the goal than the girl that she is defending. She's not worried about the ball. She's worried about getting into her position and watching where the player is relative to that. Us 2 up here, which I'm going to say it's Alexis and Phoebe, we are looking back at the ball, which is fine, but we have now allowed these 2 players to get past us. And so as you can see, as we continue here, they're there. Jamie is going to eventually slide to her there. Okay, but even at this point, it's a little bit late because, again, good teams will be able to see that. She's going to be able to cut to the middle. She's going to be able to give her a ball all the way there, and she'll be able to get that. We have to get to our spots first. It is not the priority of these 2 girls to go to the ball. I'm not really sure what Jamie is signaling right here with her arm, but she is not a threat with the ball up here. And Amelia is doing a good job right here of just holding her to that line. Notice how she just stays on the hash. So watch, if I replay that, the girl is on the hash right here. And notice how this entire time, she never comes to the inside. Amelia is able to keep up, hold her line, and that's good. Now, let's back this up a little bit more and look back at the defense. Here we go back to where Jamie is signaling something there. And what ends up happening here, which you can't see, is we have Marley with a 1-on-1. Marley's supposed to be at the elbow, which means we have no one down here at this point. We've got both Phoebe and Jamie on this side of the ball where we don't need to be on this side of the ball. We need to go ahead and move somebody to the other side. I know you're thinking, well, there's nobody on the other side. I understand, but that's not how a zone works. In a zone, you want to move into your spot, and I'll show you why. So at this point here, we've got, again, Marley is like, I have to get up to the elbow, but because she wants to be up at the elbow, we're leaving this area exposed for the cutter that's going to come from under here inside. So again, at this point, Phoebe should be already marking down here, preventing this girl from coming in on the inside low. Okay, and the other middies need to get there, right? So if we have an attack player here, we've got, who's the midi at the elbow? If in this position it's going to be Harper needs to get there. If it's Mariana needs to let go of this girl, not worry about this girl, knowing that Harper's going to pick her up and her getting to the elbow here. Therefore, we can have Jamie down here and Mariana marking her up and the rover doing what she needs to do and Phoebe over on this side here. So this is really a failure in us understanding the importance of when you run a zone, you have to go to your spots. You have a specific spot that you are guarding. You're not guarding a girl. If your spot is covered, the girl will come into your spot and you can defend her then. But if she's outside of that spot, she is not a problem. She is not a threat. Because again, Mariana going into this spot over here, into that elbow, if that was her position, if the ball went to this girl, Harper is already in position to make that play. So you can see here, we've got, okay, so at this point, we kind of start to balance ourselves out. Let's rewind a little bit here, but you can see, as I mentioned, this girl 24 is going to go underneath. We're leaving the elbow exposed, and you might be thinking, well, there's nobody in the elbow now. You're right, there's no one there now, but if Marley is here, she's going to be able to slide into the girl that's cutting right there. So anybody that's cutting here, for example, this girl, she would have been able to make that slide. But in the process, we do eventually balance out. A little bit here, we've got the rover. But as you can see, that girl's cutting right below. Marley's having to catch that. Jamie does have good eyes on ball right here. We're playing fine up here. None of these girls are a threat. Ball goes to center. Okay, so at this point, what do we have? We have Phoebe is still on this side. So again, we're still unbalanced. We still don't have anybody on this side over here. We've got both little girls, Phoebe and Jamie, down on this side of the field, which again should not happen because we're leaving Marley wide open over here. And I know your argument's going to be, but there's nobody there. Again, we're not playing man. We're playing zone. When you play zone, you cover because eventually the girls will go into that spot. So if we play on here, we can see that Marley now has to hurry back. Jamie now gets into her spot. All right, coming back here. So what we can see here is we do get beat a little bit on speed. As you can see, the player is going to run right there. Runs past Mariana. Mariana doesn't necessarily do anything wrong. She sees the player. She starts to slice to the player. Marley does a good job, too, of seeing the run going in there. Jamie steps in. I really disagree with this call. I think Jamie stepped in correctly, except I think at this moment could be argued that it was shooting space. It was rough. I mean, I wouldn't have called it shooting space. I think Jamie was close enough to it. I think the ref, from his angle, he saw Jamie stepping inside instead of coming up to the line. But, you know, it is what it is. I disagree with that call as well. So she shoots it. I think it hits off of the post. I think she sets up for a free position shot. And on this one, she goes in and pops it in the net. And the only thing I would say to this one here is we need to put our fastest players on either side of the shooter as soon as we can. So if you are, let's say, for example, Marley and I would say Harper, probably out of this group of girls here, are going to be the two fastest girls. And so what we need to do is we need to absolutely put them around the side, because in this one here, if we see, you know, Mariana can't keep up with the speed of that girl. Marley does get in there, but by the time she gets in there, the girl has already shot the ball in. So again, just try to think who is the fastest players on here, and if there is an FB shot, who, you know, where are we going to stand there? Granted that the girl that committed the foul is not one of the fastest players. All right, on this draw right here, we just misread the ball. It was a good draw by Amelia. Ball is going in the right direction, and then here I think Alex maybe just misjudged the ball, or maybe I'm not really sure what we're thinking here. If we're playing defensively, but the ball's going towards this direction here. So she gets the ball there, and now at this point she's already beat. We now have a 3v1 situation going down to transition. And again, we're going to focus back on the defense one more time. As we're going here, we can see this girl's already getting behind our defenders. We are, you know, Marley's going to the spot. We are posting up in the front. So far, again, let's see what happens here. At this point, looks like Jamie's about to go to her spot there. But again, we've got a player open here, and we've got another player open right there. These girls are not going to shoot. We can let them just simply drive down with the ball, which is what Mariana is doing. It's just running down with the girl here. Again, if I rewind that, you can see the girl gets the ball here. Mariana is there. She's not worried about this girl. She's going to hold the line. So we've doing the hold the line thing pretty well. Look, we get there, and we just hold with her, make her run the ball down. Perfectly fine. Mariana cannot cover this girl. She's covering the ball. And at this point, she will eventually get down. And it looks like we're set here. We're set here. We're set here. We're set here with the rover. We are two middies here, which looks like this is the rover. So it looks like these two need to shift out. We need to have a girl here. So Harper, you need to come here, because right now it looks like both of you are guarding the same player. Okay, Amelia moves over. That's fine. It was in transition. Like I said, I'm watching this and trying to see it. So right now we look very well balanced. Okay, we've got the rover over here. We've got 1, 2, 3. Let me kind of just go back here to where we were. Just showing you this again. We did a really good job on this one here. We come down. As I said, Amelia then sees that. She bumps into her corner. So at this point, we're good. And here's the part that sometimes we get confused, but you're doing the right thing. Marley is in her spot. You're in her spot. Notice that we have one player here, and there's nobody there. That's fine. That's correct. The rover at this point sees this player here, but Marley has her eyes on what's going to happen. So if we fast forward this a little bit, there goes the cutter. She decides to fake and go to the inside, which is, again, it's fine because that's going to cause Amelia to want to see this ball. However, she is not a threat yet. You've got to stick with that cutter just for a little bit longer so she doesn't get open, because right now we're guarding nobody. You're not engaging the ball, and we're also not getting there. And now we're relying on Marley having to shift over to pick up this player over here, which the ball does come to her. And there's a little bobble there. But we end up, if I'm not mistaken, we do end up with making the save. And yes, I do remember that one. The ball comes out, and we do end up going, getting the ball back. So again, on that one, just going to rewind it one more time just to walk you guys through it. You did the things correctly. Okay? What did we do correctly? We came down. We immediately established our positions, which we didn't do on the first time. Okay? The only thing I would add here is we engage the double when she sets foot in the 8. We don't go up to her early. So I think Amelia just went up to her a little bit early here. She's seeing that. But at the same point, again, this is what we have a zone. Marley does slide to the ball correctly and picks the girl up. So not making the dig here at Amelia. I'm saying what Amelia could do. Could have done a little bit better. But at the same point, this is why this is the strength of the zone defense. Because even though she may have hesitated for whatever the reason may be, Marley did the right thing and slid over and was able to cover that player and force the turnover there. Only thing I would add here is when we pick up the ball, we have this tendency, like I pick up the ball, I need to drive through players. If you notice here, Mariana is right in front of Marley. Marley does get, her stick bumps into the offensive player's stick. They call the foul on the offensive player. As I mentioned to you guys, this is going to happen every single time. This is why it's important for us not to have our sticks up, but to have our sticks down and play to the hip. But again, we have player-on-player collision there as well, which we should avoid. So now we get the ball. We can move the ball there, get away from pressure, and pass the ball. Okay. We get the ball again. Nobody's off camera here. And now again, we have plenty of time. But what we need to be looking for, let's see here. We make the pass. The pass gets knocked down. Why? Why are we making such a long pass? Again, we're looking, saying you're probably thinking I can hit this player. I see this player way downfield. You have 1, 2, 3 sticks. And that's a really long pass. You have 2 open players on this side over here. So Mariana should absolutely have made the play to this player, and then eventually made a play to this player, and then this player make the play to the open player up here. We could have moved that ball much faster. And this is Amelia. Amelia would have been already down at the 40. And that's how we need to make the play. We don't need to be launching a 10, 20, 30, almost a 35-yard pass down to the midfield. All right, in the next video, I'm going to break down the next goal.